Yeah.
Yo, what's going on? I'm Alika.
And I'm Chuck.
And this is theMATshow.
The martial arts talk show.
And today, we're going to be talking about
our first blog
post that we ever put up.
WTF
Dana White. Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. Alright? What the F Dana White?
What are you thinking?
You know what I'm saying? Dana White is doing a lot of shit good right now, you know what I mean? For MMA, the UFC, he's doing a lot of stuff good, but we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that he could be doing
better. Or just what we think he should be doing.
What we think, what we want to see as fans.
You should just do what we're saying.
Just do it, and then you got to pay us for it.
We're making millions of dollars.
Millions, son.
Millions!
Give us some, you know what I'm saying? But anyways,
yes.
The first thing we're going to be talking about is the heavyweights.
Yes, the heavyweight division.
Number one, namely being Fedor Emelianenko.
Is number one in the world. No ifs, ands, or buts. He is the number one heavyweight fighter in the world.
Number one.
Number one.
Son. Now, there's a lot of talk going on after his loss, his first loss. You know what I mean? Saying, oh, he was never good. You know what I mean? Now that he finally lost by submission. Oh, he was never that good. He was never what everybody else hyped him up to be. And Dana White was right, talking all this crap about him that he'd been doing for the longest time. Yeah. But reality, tell me about the UFC heavyweight division.
The UFC heavyweight division is weak.
Weak!
And they need some people that can help them out and make them the stacked heavyweight division that they need to be. Mm-hmm. The UFC needs to be the NFL. They need to have the best fighters.
They are the best organization.
They are the best organization, but they need the best fighters in every division, because you're the NFL of MMA. All right, so you need guys like Fedor Emelianenko, the number one fighter in the world for heavyweights. You need Brett Rogers. You need Alistair Overeem. You need Andrei Arlovsky. You need these guys. Andrei Arlovsky was young then when they kicked him out. Now he's older, more experienced.
More experience.
And you know, your next fight for a heavyweight division is going to be, what, Junior Dos Santos versus the winner of King Velasquez or Brock Lesnar?
Mm-hmm. Even to see that the winner of Big Country or Junior Dos Santos, it was a throw-up of who was going to be next in the heavyweight division. That's not saying a lot for your heavyweight division.
Yeah, it's not stacked at all.
It's not.
You need it to be. And just bring some more fighters in and throw them around in the mix, because you know,
who's going to be the contenders next after this?
Nobody.
We're going to see rematches? We're just going to keep on replaying shit?
Yeah, we're just going to have rematches upon rematches upon rematches. It's going to be like Alien versus Predator.
Alien versus Predator.
Of the UFC, though.
I mean, Emelianenko's still the number one guy on my list. A lot of people's lists.
Yes.
And to all you people out there that are calling, you know, Fedor fan, you know, fanboys, whatever, that were on his whatever, you know he's number one.
Yeah.
If you've been watching MMA, you know he's the number one. Get off of UFC's, you know what, and get on ours. See what I'm saying?
You need to get on ours and ride it.
Ride it.
Or you know what?
You know what?
All right.
But see, the heavyweight division isn't the only weak division. We think in the UFC. The
middleweight division.
Middleweight division.
Is also weak.
Also weak.
They do have the number one middleweight in the world, Anderson Silva.
Number one, yeah.
And they also have the number two middleweight in the world, Chael Sonnen. But other than that,
who they got?
They don't got nobody.
Nobody.
They need to bring in these new fighters that can't make weight for welterweight, you know, to put in some excitement. Because Vitor Belfort is not a contender. He's not up there with the
He came in one fight back in the UFC, trying to get to the top. Rich Franklin knocked him out. Knockout of the night. But I mean,
one fight.
You know what I mean? One fight. Vitor, I mean, I would call him irrelevant.
Yes.
In the middleweight division in the UFC. So much, like, not elite guys, but like a lot of tough guys that I think can take him out. Style-wise.
Yeah.
In the UFC. But he beats, you know, Rich Franklin, tough guy, but one fight and he's next. And who else is there? When Anderson Silva beats Vitor Belfort, what are they gonna do? Rematch Central all over again.
They're gonna have to look for those new guys, those guys that are coming down from welterweight again. Because there's nobody after that fight. There's no other fight set up.
Nobody.
I guess he's gonna have to rematch Chael Sonnen.
Well, the middleweight division overall is pretty weak.
Pretty weak.
I mean, overall, not just the UFC. I mean, overall, so you wouldn't be able to bring in a bunch of guys. But I mean, like the Rumble Johnson,
Fat
ass.
Thiago Alves.
I mean, get up there. Get in the mix, man. You see what I'm saying? But the middleweight division, we want to see more from you. From all of you. Lesson number 1.
All right.
But UFC does have, you know what I mean, a couple, 3 weight divisions that are stacked.
Yes.
The 3 remaining weight divisions, stacked. Light heavyweight division.
Light heavyweight.
The top 5 to 10, 5'10", they're all tough guys overall in the light heavyweight division.
And they got John Jones coming up.
John Jones, superstar coming up. The welterweight division, always tough. Always stacked. Crazy. That's why they want, welterweight GSP to come up to fight Anderson Silva. There's no one there. Another weight division, the lightweight division.
Lightweight.
A lot of tough guys.
They're stacked.
A lot of,
elite fighters.
More elite fighters in the lightweight division, the UFC. But how do you think they're handling that? The top tier of the lightweight division.
They are stacked in the lightweight division. The only thing that they're doing wrong is they made one crucial mistake, making Frankie Edgar fight BJ Penn when he didn't deserve the title shot. Gray Maynard
deserved it.
Gray Maynard deserved
it. Was he your number 1 contender?
Yes.
He's my number 1 contender.
He beat Frankie Edgar. What else could you ask for?
He didn't beat him. He bullied him.
He bullied him. Bullied him. If you beat the guy who's the champ now, and you didn't have any fights in between, or you never lost any fights in between, what is that? How does that make you feel?
That's when what's called pulling a strike force. See what I'm saying? The number 1 contender, should be the number 1 contender, Gray Maynard beats Frankie Edgar, but Frankie Edgar gets the title shot the same way they did when Emelianenko beat Brett Rogers. They made Brett Rogers fight for the title against Alistair Overeem. It doesn't make any sense.
And now Fabricio Verdum's out, so what? Fedor's gonna get a title shot probably.
Yeah. But again, with the lightweight division, now that Frankie Edgar did win, BJ Penn's gonna get an immediate rematch. It was real controversial, but that's over. Who won? Who lost?
Yes.
Now where's Gray Maynard again? He still hasn't lost a fight.
So he's gonna fight Ken Flo, and if Ken Flo beats him this time, that's really gonna screw things up in the lightweight division.
Yep.
So I think that hopefully BJ Penn wins.
Yes.
No, BJ Penn is gonna win. And then Gray Maynard is gonna fight him and then lose. So
But I mean, that's how it should have went.
That's how it should have went the first time.
But we're gonna see. It's the next UFC coming up, 118. Is going to tell us a lot about what's going to happen in the lightweight division, and we'll get back to that.
Yeah.
But moving on to,
Chocolate Dog, Paul Daly. All these things about Dana White firing guys from the UFC, telling them they can't fight in the UFC anymore.
Can't fight.
Okay, you signed up Chocolate Dog to do a fight against Tito Ortiz. Not only did you sign up to do a fight, you signed up to do Ultimate Fighter.
The Ultimate Fighter.
If he was going to fight Tito Ortiz on the show, and he didn't fight Tito Ortiz, he fought Rich Franklin. And he lost. You still owe us the fight for Tito Ortiz versus Chocolate Dog. But you're saying that that was his last fight in UFC. Why?
I mean, you give him... You hype that whole thing up. You do a whole thing of the Ultimate Fighter, and everybody wants to see that fight. But then Tito Ortiz is hurt, and Rich Franklin steps up, and Chuck Liddell loses. And just because he loses that fight, the fight that he wasn't supposed to have, he's out.
Yeah.
I just thought I should repeat that again. How stupid it sounds.
It is dumb.
It's
Paul Daly now.
Paul Daly,
you should have suspended him. The NFL does it. Other sports do it.
Every other sport.
Why can't the UFC do it? It's just smarter. Nobody gets cut, even though your welterweight is stacked. You know, you could have had still a good fighter in there, and you would have made up for some good fights, nice knockouts, and would have sold tickets and pay-per-views.
We're not saying, you know, I mean, we're not, you know, condone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We don't agree with what Paul Daly did. We're not saying that. Like, nobody should ever, these guys are trained fighters, you know, that's what they're trained to do. They're professionals. But, I mean, he messed up, you know, it's after when the emotions is heated, and he messed up. But you kick him out, you cut him and say he's never gonna come back in the UFC again.
That's ludicrous.
There's harsh penalties that you could put on him. You know, see, like other sports, people are convicted for murder, felonies, and they still get to come back and play. You see what I'm saying? Like put a really harsh, you know what I mean, penalty on Paul Daly. Maybe take away his contract for a year.
Yeah.
Or something like that. But I mean, saying that he'd kick him out that night and say he's never going to fight again in the UFC.
That is dumb. That's just ludicrous. I don't even think they should kick him out. They should have fined him, suspended him for a fight or two in the UFC. You know, maybe, you know, set him up with some fights with some scrubs. I don't care. It shouldn't have been a saying where he's saying that he's never going to fight again in the UFC. Because what if he did come back and become the best welterweight in the world? Are you going to go back on your word? How would that make you look?
But then again, he's not, you know what I mean? He would probably talk trash about him and not bring him into the UFC.
Yeah.
Seeing that's what he likes to do with the heavyweight division.
Well, I think that's what he needs to do to make the UFC better. And I think it would be better off if he did these things.
It would. I mean, we're not talking bad about Dana White or the UFC. They're the best.
And he's made it the best.
They made it the best organization in MMA. We're just saying you should have the best fighters and have the best matchups.
Yep.
Every time.
The best fighters. You at least need the best fighters in the world.
At least.
At least that.
That's what you owe us, the fans.
Everything else should be minor leagues. Everything else should be CFL, AFL. Everything else should be, you know.
It's called trying to get into the UFC. That's
yes.
But I mean, you know what I mean? You tossing so much money around everywhere else. Why not toss them at the best fighters that can make the UFC the best, and have the best fighters? But you know what I mean? Anything else to add onto our thoughts?
Well, you know, the real.
Wait, hold on. It's Dana White. Sorry, he's blowing my phone up. It's just streaming live. He's a little mad. Sorry.
Oh no, yeah. Well, hopefully he'll take it to heart.
He will take it to heart. But that's just our thoughts. I mean, we wanted to get that out there into the air. You know, lift that off our chests, and we're excited for our next post.
Oh yes, we're gonna be talking about BJ Penn versus Frankie Edgar. The only thing about that, I won't be here to watch it. I'll be on a plane, leaving to go off and deploy.
But we're still gonna make a video before that happens. Our predictions and all that. James Toney, Randy Couture, gonna be a crazy card.
Yes.
Come back and check that out.
Oh, not only that, Frankie Edgar, BJ Penn.
BJ Penn.
Then you got Gray Maynard and Kenny Florian.
And Flo.
You know, all those lightweights. Things
a lot of fights
up.
They mashed a lot of fights up that a lot of us would like to see.
Yes.
Come back. Check out our preview of that UFC 118, BJ Penn versus Frankie Edgar 2. See what I'm saying? But that's all for now. Don't forget to check out our blog at blog.theMATshow.com. This is The Mat Show.
The martial arts talk show.
And that's all for now, people. Cheers.